Welcome back, and on the bench today we have the GameCube that I previously worked on, and I think I mentioned in that video that I was planning on installing the PicoBoot. Well, this is a kit that I purchased from AliExpress. Comes with everything you need apart from an SD card, which you'll have to purchase separately. Also comes with pads if you don't manage to separate the heatsink without lifting the thermal pads. It comes with replacements. Also has a little bracket for mounting the board inside, nice and neat. All the wires that you need, basically everything's there. I also didn't video it, but I decided after all to retro-bright the front panel. I'm not sure how well it shows on camera, but it's a night and day difference. It's grey again, the way it should be. And this is what I used. Basically removed the panel, covered it in the cream peroxide, which I bought from Asda, and I put it out in the sun on my window ledge for, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours maybe, and that was all it took to bring it back to this condition. So very happy with that. Right, well, I'm not going to go through the teardown process because that was in the previous video, and there's lots of videos online showing the teardown of the console. Right, so I'll be back when I'm ready to install the board. Right, okay, this is the area that we're going to be installing on the board. This area right here. There's only 5 wires. There's a couple of points that you have to bridge, one on the pie and these 2 points on the board. So let's get started. Right. Okay, so we'll be installing onto 2 pins on this IC and 2 points on here. Now the kit comes with wires that are handily, they're colour coded, so this makes this a bit easier. So I think we'll start off on the IC, and let's get a little bit of flux. Now, and we'll start with GP 6 and 7. And it's going to be a yellow wire. Just turn this round slightly. It's basically the second pin in on the bottom. So let's get this attached. That's that one on, solid. And do GP4, which is going to be the blue wire. Or in this case purple, but close enough. And it's going to the 3rd pin along on the top. Burnt my finger there. May need to add a tiny little bit of solder to the tip of the iron. There we go. Okay, so that's those two wires in place. So let's move these to the side just now. I'm going to add a little bit of solder to these points. So we'll start with the two ground points, which are here and here. Bridge them together, and this is going to be the black wire. So that's that. This one here. I'm going to add a little bit of flux again. There, and two along this one here. A bit of fresh solder. Now this first one is going to be a green wire. Awkward to get into it. That's that one, and this one's going to be the red wire. Okay, that's that. And just give all this a bit of a clean, get rid of the flux. Right. Right. Okay, so that's the wires in place on the board, so I'm just going to gather them together. And I'm going to slip the bit of heat shrink, which is going to be used to help protect the wires when the shielding's reapplied, because it's going to come out just at the side here. Now, the chip itself is going to sit, the Pico rather, itself is going to sit in here, inside this little bracket, once we've got it installed. I think before I go any further, I'm going to remove this old heat pad and replace it with the new ones along with these ones here, so we'll get that done. I'm not going to bother filming scraping that off and giving it a clean, so I'll be back once that's cleaned up. Right, that's them done, been cleaned up. So what I'm going to do next is install fresh pads. See, they came with the kit, so might as well install them. I'll pre-cut to size. There we go. So I'll get this reinstalled. Try that again. Doesn't have the holes lined up. Should be right. Right, so now should be ready for reinstalling the drive. So switch that in a little bit. A bit of thunder and lightning today. Right, so I think next we'll get the main screws in. Right, I'll put all these screws back in and I'll come back once I'm done. Right, that's us back together. All the screws are in, the fan's back on, and I've just installed the little bracket that comes with the kit, because that's where the device is going to sit. It just neatly fits into the slot there, once it's all wired in obviously, and you'll be good to go. A nice secure location for it. But the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to prepare the device. The software we need to install on it, and also onto the SD card, which is going to hold your games as well. So we'll start by prepping this. Now there's going to be links in the description in the video where you can download the software. Right, okay, this is the software for the device itself, and what you want to do is download this one here. We'll scroll down to the bottom and go to assets. If you have the Pico 2, you would use that one. The original Pico W, you'd use this one. Now I've already downloaded it, so right, that's it here. PicoBoot to PicoBoot full. So what I need to do is let's connect up my USB cable to the PC. I'll switch back. So what you need to do is hold in the boot button when you plug your USB cable in that's attached to your computer. So what you want to do from here is go to your downloads, find that file, and you just want to drag and drop it onto the device. Once you're done, once it's complete, you'll see we have the green light on the device now. Right, so that's that part done. I'll just eject this. Right, so that's that ready. Now, the second part will be installing the software onto the SD card, the Swiss software. Right, now this is where you need to download the Swiss software from. Again, the link is in the description. Just basically scroll down until you come to the zip file and download that one. So I'm going to plug in my SD card into my PC. Now I've already copied it over, but basically you want to unzip onto your SD card. Then you want to go into the folder, go into the DOL folder, and you want to cut this file, and you want to place it into the root of your SD card, and then you'll need to rename it. I'll just have to grab my keyboard every second. Right, and you're going to rename this IPL. IPL in capitals. Not sure how important that is, but there we go. So that's that done. Right, okay, so let's get installing. Now these wires are going to be a little bit on the long side, really, unless I was to route them across and back again. I think we'll see how it goes once they're in, but they do seem quite long to me. Right, I'm going to go back under the scope for this. Now, on the diagram it shows that they're using this ground point down here, but because of how that's going to sit in the little bracket, it wouldn't be ideal having a wire down there. It'd be too tight a fit, so I'm going to use the ground up here. So let's start off by adding a bit of solder to the points that we're going to use, which is 3v3 in ground on this side. And on the opposite side, GP 4 and 5. have to bridge GP 6 and 7, but we'll bridge them with the wire itself. So that's basically that. So let's start with black wire, which is ground. I'm going to use my white tack on this just to keep it steady, because that's getting a bit annoying. Right, let's go again. Black wire. Then we have red wire, which will go to 3v3. I'm going to flip this. It's going to be upside down. It'll just be easier for soldering. So we have GP4, which is blue. It's going to go here. Then we have GP5, which is green. And then finally we're going to have to bridge these 2 points with a wire. So it's connected to both. We actually add a little bit extra solder here. Got a proper flood. That's better. And I'll bridge that across. Here we go. Yep, it's connected to both. Just make sure it's not connected to the one next to it though. That's a little bit closer my liking, so I'm just going to move that a little. Okay, that's much better. Right, so that's the wires attached. Let's switch back to the overhead view. Right, rid of that. Now, let's see what we're going to be like for wires. So this is going to just slot in here. Okay, that's that in. We are going to have some excess wire to deal with. Not really a problem. So we can just route it along the front here. I know with a lot of the installs the wires would be coming right along here anyway, because they would double-sided tape it to here. Right, okay. That'll be enough with that, maybe. Just wondering whether I could just slide a bit of shrink tube over those wires just to keep them together a bit better. Multimeter switching off. And if we keep them together like that and then slip this over the top. Yeah, that's much better. much neater fit. Right, okay, let's get this front board back on. I can see to get this line back up. Right, that's looking fine. Sure these wires are tucked away where they need to be. And get the back on. And finally, get the top on. Preferably the right way around. Yep. Right, I'll just get these screws back in and we'll move on to the next stage. Right, we have the machine back together and I've added a few games to the SD card. Ready for testing. So we're plugged in, everything's on. So let's switch on. Okay, it's loading straight into that screen fine. Now I'll just grab my controller. So all the settings, we'll just skip past that just now. So we have our games folder, and if we go into that, we have Star Fox Adventures. I've saved game using the little memory card that I got with that package from AliExpress. As you can see, it's running fine. Switch off again. Back on. Now right. Okay, so if you highlight that, the little eject icon in the bottom left hand corner, you can come to here. Now what you can do, now that's it, obviously device selection being the SD card, but you can go to DVD. So if you wanted to play your disc games, I'll just grab the disc. Pop that in. And select that. as you can see it was running from the disk. Just to confirm, it's not running from the SD card. There we go. Right. Right, this time we're going to go into the SNES emulator that I've installed. That's it there. And load the emulator up. And it's just a few games are stuck on there. So let's go for R-Type. Swine. Okay, okay. Right, so that's basically that. There is other emulators you can add to it. I mean, it's handy that you can still play your disc-based games as well. So yeah, that's this machine done. Be able to give it upstairs to the missus for her to play. Right, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, then subscribe to the channel, always appreciated. And if you click the bell notification icon, then you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. Thanks for watching. Cheers.